And social is, can we manage jobs and relationships? Can we manage the environment around us? To be truly sustainable, which is what this session is about, I think the traditional approaches have to be sustained with holistic approaches, which are not usually identified or addressed. So, in that sense, we not only treat mental health, but also enhance mental health ahead of time and then prevent any past memory, thoughts, and emotions that restrict our spontaneity in the current moment and limit our actions in the future, which means they are limiting our future potential. They tend to manifest as like strong low emotions such as anger, depression, agitation. So anytime you feel any of these negative emotions, you're probably experiencing incompletion. And of course, completion is a mental state where we do not have these extraordinary in doing certain things that no one else can, right? That is what I mean by growing up with beliefs that are self-limiting. So if you have self-doubt, it stops you from trying things, which again reinforces the self-doubt. So they tend to be a vicious cycle. But very honestly, we are capable of extraordinary achievements. In fact, if you look at the scriptures like
please feel free to put them. We're also, time is moving quickly, so we're going to have to move fast. We have a lot to cover. So this presentation is brought to you by Nityananda Hindu University. I'm representing the research department of Nityananda Hindu University. And this is a university that is styled after the ancient Vedic, ancient Hindu universities from Nityananda Paramashivam, who is, as per Hinduism, he is an incarnation of Paramashiva, which is the primordial divinity. And starting from birth as a yogi, he has achieved high consciousness and enlightenment and incarnation status. And from that space, he has reestablished the United States of Kailasa, which is a Hindu civilizational nation in service to political leaders, religious leaders, and is a very, very indescribably remarkable figure. And through this talk, I'll be referring to Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, sometimes as Swamiji, which is a way that we refer to him, which is an address of tremendous respect and tremendous affection because of the positivity he's brought to our life. So some of the research is done with him, and I'll be describing him that way there. So participants, which you'll see some remarkable findings, and then we're going to talk about what is going on in the mind and brain and consciousness of Supreme Pandit of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, who I also call as Swamiji. Some of them would have already been part of this enlightenment ecosystem, would have already known Swamiji, and some of them would have been new. And so the Dr. Rao, he drew blood and measured gene expression before and after the program. And they looked at hundreds of different genes being expressed, and they found huge changes in gene expression in multiple pathways. But the ones I'm going to highlight here are the pro-inflammatory pathways, which create inflammation in the system, which will, at the cellular level, be inflammation, but at the system-wide level will show up as stress and disease. Many of these pro-inflammatory pathways were downregulated. And when I say downregulated study, they said, let's look at telomerase activity, and let's look at peripheral blood stem cells. Telomerase is an enzyme that works to keep the cell genetically young. And many people know about telomeres. It's been very much talked about in the mainstream recently. The telomeres are a surrogate for cellular viability, which is specifically a product of mitochondrial metabolism. So mitochondria are the organelles inside the cell that create power for the cell, energy for the cell. And so their metabolism was increased. This is actually not, you see it's 967%. It's not a typo, it's really true. Basically 10-fold increase in mitochondrial metabolism. So you would expect that to show up in a massive surge of energy. So when you put together at the cellular level a huge surge in energy, because it's through an online program, and then we did a paired and unpaired analysis. So here's what we found. So the total score, for US average, total score is around 18. A higher number means more depression, more anxiety, more stress. So you want a low score in this. For the participants, the score was already much lower than average initially, which may reflect that some people had taken initiations and were involved in this. Over 14 is stress, and the US average is 8. You can see all these graphs on the left. You can see the line graphs is the paired and then the bar graphs. Both paired and unpaired, highly statistically significant in all of these. So statistically and clinically very significant is 9 total scores are on physical and mental health. Again, the higher is better. We did just a paired analysis for this, and all of them were improved. 5 out of the 9 met statistical significance, and they were also clinically significant. I just included a couple graphs here. The total score, you can see it's going up for just about everyone, and then social functioning is going up for just about everyone. So again, increased mental and physical health, the gene expression, and then these changes in mental health. So to better understand that, a lot of science has been done with Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramahansa. So I'm going to talk about a few scientific studies. First one is done with, I'll go as quick as I can, but it's so valuable and so important. I want to make sure we cover things. So Dr. Krishna at a Jim Thorpe Rehab Center in Oklahoma did PET scans and noticed heightened activity in the frontal lobe that he can create at will beyond normal human. A PET scan measures metabolic activity in the body structure being studied. A variable called heart rate variability, which shows variability within the heart rate that reflects the autonomic system and how at ease someone is. You could say it's very complex. We don't have time to go into it further. But the key finding is when he would do healing on someone, they would completely sync up their heart rate variability. It means a complete cohesion and entrainment was happening. And then again, that a neuroscientist noted, this is a quote, Swamiji demonstrated a remarkable ability to shift between brain states during meditation. There would be a huge surge in gamma waves, which we'll talk about shortly, the significance of gamma waves. But the key part is when he was healing, his right heart of brain would go into what the researcher called extreme gamma activity, which I think is likely to be high amplitude gamma waves, and I'll explain why. But then the person he was healing, when he was doing direct one-on-one healing, they went into the same increase from Dr. Collins that he couldn't believe that he said there's no such thing as normal for you. He couldn't believe that his baseline level of mental activity. They talked about the power of the gamma waves in the mind. They take a huge amount of metabolic activity, but both Swamiji and the person he healed were completely refreshed and energetic afterwards. And the doctor said, if I had done this, I'd be fatigued and sleeping by the time it's over. So for some deep restorative sleep, or if you were like in a coma. Theta waves, these are 4 to 8 hertz. These will correlate if you're in REM sleep, if you're daydreaming, if you're in a deep meditation but not sleeping, or very drowsy. This is what you'll have. Beta waves would be, we'll go to alpha waves here. Alpha waves are the next state. They go from 8 to 12 hertz. This is if you're awake and alert and kind of receptive. Could be a listening state. Many of you guys are in alpha right now. If you close your eyes, you go into heavy alpha waves. And then beta waves would be in populations and individuals who have very little baseline gamma activity. They're much more likely to develop Alzheimer's dementia. In individuals who have a higher baseline, like very low levels, I'm talking that you need a QEEG to detect, they're not going to have Alzheimer's dementia. And even in animal models, they've showed if they can induce gamma waves, the plaques and tangles that you see at the cellular, they would go into a oneness and compassion meditation. They could go into sustained gamma. That's the only other time that I'm familiar outside of Swamiji and what I'm going to talk about that we've seen sustained gamma. But it was in long-term meditators while they were deep in meditation. So what we've seen that's unique and different, and that I've not seen described at will, and I've seen a few others that go into a very high beta, almost on the cusp of this, that's extremely atypical for normal beta activity. So I see this as progression in their capacity to reflect this state of consciousness in their spiritual growth. And so they would do this by connecting with Swamiji, connecting to a state of oneness, doing things like blindfold reading and materializing some lifestyle things. I'm not going to go in detail because I'm over time already. But mind-body consciousness approaches can create this possibility of really powerfully enhanced mental health and intense states of bliss and higher consciousnness. Extremely low rates of depression, divorce, and really high income, high productivity. And we think it relates to this lifestyle and the residue of this lifestyle in their system. So thank you so much for your listening. I complete for going a little over time. But now
or in a moment of indecision, I don't know what to do, right? And I want to have clarity of mind. Too many thoughts are running in my mind. I just take a moment to practice this meditation where I unclutch from my thoughts. So I want to take you through this meditation, but
in one line, listen. Decide not to engage or continue, create, maintain, fight. In the initial level, you may be a little deluded here, there. In few seconds, you will see you are not thinking process. You are beyond your thinking process. Creating, maintaining, destroying, fighting, engaging, all thought process.
And one follow the other. First, I think about my house. I'm thinking about my dog in my house, and then the food the dog didn't eat, and so on and so forth. So it's an association of thoughts that creates problem. So if you unclutch from each thought as they appear, then you don't associate them, and then they just become random series of thoughts which don't affect you. That's the whole idea. So initially you can, no. So are you?
you able to hear it now?
Yes.
Unclutch from your thoughts. Close your eyes and unclutch from your thoughts. Outside sounds more clearly, like bell chiming or people talking, cars going by. That's a positive sign. But understand that even those are thoughts. And next time you try this, unclutch from those also. And when you start unclutching from those thoughts, you will start listening to more of your inner sound, like your breathing.
So next slide. So the brain plays a very important role in regulating mood and cognition, not only through activity of certain brain structures, but also pathways or circuits of communication between different brain regions are important for mental health. And while just by switching over to whole food, plant-based diet, you can make big improvements in mental health. So again, we're highlighting how just lifestyle measures which cost very little to nothing, such as yoga, meditation, and diet, can make a huge impact. And it can reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medication, the cingulate cortex. And even our ability to empathize with others are affected due to loss of brain cells in the cingulate cortex. Also, depression negatively impacts the basal ganglia, which is a part of the brain involved in pathways for reward, motivation, and feeling pleasure. And so we can go on to the next slide. So not only are gone, but it turns out certain practices, especially yoga and meditation, can actually lead to neurogenesis. We're actually generating new brain cells, and this can happen throughout the lifespan. So this in itself is like very groundbreaking information. And it turns out brain cells in yoga practitioners. Very interestingly, there's an area of the brain called amygdala, and this is involved in processing fear pathways. This is sometimes called it's a important part of our very primitive brain, which is there to protect us, but can become dysfunctional when we have emotional trauma and different sorts of mental disorder. Anterior cingulate striatum. These are also involved in emotional processing, some of these areas. Very interestingly, the prefrontal cortex is more active in practitioners of meditation. And one thing that happens when the prefrontal decision-making, learning, memory, and also the ability to monitor ourself, to know what's happening within us and our environment, and as well as having self-awareness about fear and anxiety. Interestingly, I also wanted to mention that in yoga practitioners, they've looked at yoga practitioners over their lifespan. Well, the dopamine is the brain chemical responsible for the feeling of pleasure or reward. Interestingly, studies in both yoga and meditation practitioners have shown that they have lower levels of a very important hormone called cortisol. This is a stress hormone released at the time that we're stressed out. You may have heard of the flight or fight response, and so this is released. And unfortunately, what this does also is this leads to a cascade of other events in the body, including more inflammation, which ends up...
We'll discuss these slides quickly, and then we'll have a very short video and short discussion to follow. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Hi, this is Dr. Pandav. I practice in the US near Baltimore. And thank you, Dr. Shachi, for the input. Basically, the gut-brain axis is a very important axis. You know, these days, there's a buzzword, healthy gut microbiome. So before we talk about that, we should know what gut-brain axis is. It is high in fiber, high in antioxidants, high in polyphenols. So basically, what it does is it fuels the healthy bacteria to neurochemicals like serotonin. So these send signal via the vagus nerve to the brain. So reducing the anxiety, cortisol, metabolic pathways, and short chain fatty acids, reducing stress and anxiety. And last thing I already told, the whole food plant-based diet. The next slide.
Well, you can go very quickly over this, Pandav. I believe we have a video and then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Actually,
Thank you.
plants are also life, no doubt, but they have not developed a biomemory where the pain is stored and gets inside your system and creates pain. No. So if you consume them, if you consume plants, vegetables, there is no pain going inside your system along with it. There is no biomemory going inside. Pure energy, food, only that goes inside. But with the animal, the muscles have a capacity to store.
Summary, we've seen that the brain physiology, through functioning, structure, chemistry, and gut health. In other words, reaching our full potential, mind, body, and consciousness. So I'd just like to open up the discussion now to also Dr. Bandav and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji. And maybe we can discuss how
So the least is, you lose weight. But other than that, so emotionally you feel much better, you feel much lighter, your energy level goes through the roof. And the last, your meditation deepens like amazingly to a deep, deep level, in the sense that you're not doing meditation, it is kind of happening to you. So it's a different state to be in.
People around me noticed. I mean, even your skin will start to glow. You will even appear younger. People would comment on that, wonder what I was doing. And so I definitely also experienced those.
About 12 years ago, Swamiji introduced the Nirahara Samyama, 12, 13 years ago. The first time I did the Nirahara Samyama, after that, it's completely gone. I don't take any antihistamines. I'm completely, and after that, I did a few times of Nirahara. Even with the first time, it disappeared. I thought this is,
You guys, for this discussion, we could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints, so we're going to move on to the next session, which is a pranayama breathing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because we are running out of time, I'm going to go through this very briefly. But what Dr. Aranke ran? So simple technique is called Shitali pranayama, and references are given here. These are all scriptural references. You can search for them online. You can actually find them. Shitali pranayama is a technique to really cool down and de-stress. So it's a very easy technique. Sit up straight and roll your tongue. And just put it outside of your mouth just a little bit, breathing in a little bit more deeper. Continue doing this. How many of you feel that deep cooling happening? And once you've taken a deep breath, close the left nostril and then breathe out through the right nostril. And after you breathe out through your right nostril, if breathing out makes you feel stressed because I'm asking you to breathe out twice as long, you don't have to do it. Just breathe out like till the count of 6 and intensely without stopping, like as long as possible, just hum. And then when your humming stops, take a quick breath, let the natural breath happen, and then start the humming again. So for example, it sounds like this. And that buzz will start clearing out all the thoughts in your mind. Right? It's a very beautiful technique that just flushes negative thoughts and anxiety from your head and just fills it with the hum that is pure thoughts, nothing else, right? Let's try doing this for a few times. For a while. Okay, relax. Done together, they actually have very powerful medicinal, sorry, I won't say medicinal, it's a very powerful effect in cooling the body, right? So we're going to talk about kriyas at the end of this whole session. Wait till then to hear a little bit more, but you can search online for Nityananda kriyas and you will find them. Okay, with this, let's move on to the next section. An everyday companion which is easily available at their fingertips to handle emotions on a daily basis, but maybe even answer bigger spiritual questions, right? And one thing that everybody or most people have at their fingertips are low-cost phones nowadays. And if you have a phone and if you have internet access, unfortunately, more and more people around the world are getting access to the internet, probably can get access to these services. It can be as easy as accessing mail or WhatsApp, for example. And the beautiful thing is conversational AI can actually help address a wide variety of mental health needs. I want to say for sure here that AI cannot replace human beings. We still need people. And we need AI to address a few challenges like address privacy, make trust and safety front and center. These are challenges that we are, or the science of happiness as taught by Hinduism. So this Nityananda.ai has the entire access to his teachings and the science of happiness and the science of enlightenment as taught by Hinduism. And it can answer questions from that perspective. So with that, let me show you a screenshot. I didn't have time to go through extensive demo because it can take time. But here I'm going to show you a demo. This is like a video that I captured on my real demo. I captured spending time at work and not being able to come home. It talks about how being a bad mother or bad wife only arises from separation between these two responsibilities and understanding that these two are both parts of you. And if you understand it from you think your sister should do what you want to do, right? And encourages open communication, understanding that you may not be able to spend too much time, but think about it as quality time, and also cultivating this idea of self-worth, which can lead to a challenge. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, now I hand it over to Dr. Prema Kodanraman to talk about women's issues.
Good evening, friends. I'm Dr. Prema Kodanraman, OBGYN urogynecologist and a pelvic surgeon from Los Angeles. We have been enjoying last more than an hour of learning so much about mental 22. The incidence of mental illness among women is increasing. It's pretty alarming. Mental health issues can affect anyone, but causes to women are very unique. Hormonal changes during menstruation, pregnancy, postpartum, and menopause can significantly affect mood and mental health. Reproductive health issues like polycystic ovary, endometriosis, infertility can lead to like 55.8%. It's a pretty expensive program, spending about $104 billion US dollars a year and 217 million days of work lost. It's a big loss of work, and more women are seeking help but failed outcome. The treatment methods are making people dependent on medication, and more medication becomes a vicious cycle. So when we look at the modern day approaches for treatment, it can be varying from psychotherapy to hospitalization, depending on the severity of the mental illness, where transcranial magnetic stimulation can be used for depression. Sometimes hospitalization when women become danger to themselves and others, and also it's an expensive way of treating mental illness. So jurisprudence says where women are worshipped, there the gods rejoice to the welfare of humanity. On the other hand, where they are not honored, all rights are futile. The second one by His Divine Holiness, Supreme Pontiff of Hindu. Let's look at details about each level, how this empowering happening at the Kailasa. These policies are mapped to the Manuvati Dharma Shastra, and Swamiji revived matrilineal society to empower women here. So the political empowerment, Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part. Core indigenous cultural aspect of Hinduism is being revived as part of Kailasa by Swamiji is the mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to know in Kailasa, women are worshipped and revered and have a secure sexual harassment-free ecosystem due to its zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment and exploitation. And it creates the most male child and women to empower them. And Nityananda's Women Foundation, it helps indigenous women to become again financially, to get financial freedom and emotional support.
System. And it has nothing to do with your gender. That's the important thing. The gender, male or being female, nothing to do with it. It is something to do with your inner quality. And next word, awaken. Only the feminine energy, sacred feminine need to be awakened. Creativity will never be possessive.
Dimension of myself that we realize, and also that I want to give a true statement here to all the viewers and listeners to hear that I'm well known for my surgery in my hospital and where I'm practicing. And after being with Swamiji for almost about 20 years, none of my patients need pain medicine and none of my patients need narco. And it's his initiation to bless every woman all over the world. And here, the science of completion, it's one of the solutions for all mental disorders. It's a meditation technique based on the science of enlightenment revealed and taught by His Divine Holiness. And it works, prevent and treat all kinds of mental disorders, not only for women, it's for
things coming out. And powerlessness. No, this is not for me. First of all, this may not be true. Second, no, this is, even if it is true, not for me. No, this may be true for the people who don't have to work for their food and paying the bills. No, maybe it is true for the people who are sitting in Kailasa and enjoying the happy, free life. All kinds of thought currents will come inside. Sit, have a little patience, listen. Listen to yourself and start pinning down precisely what all resistance, anger, fear, guilt, powerlessness, what all is getting and making you completely complete and making you manifest powerful cognitions and powers. Till I appear in the mirror, continue completion. And I tell you, I will really appear in the mirror and make you complete and make you manifest powers. When I say, I mean. Just sit in front of the mirror and declare simple integrity to me. Start chanting Mahavagya and remember this powerful cognition, today's cognition. Pen down all the incompletions, fears, anger, guilt, impossibility, patterns, which tells you, no, you need to be dependent internally, externally, other than
your old experience mental disorders. And another alarming number is 13% number. We know that conventional approach have not been enough to address all these challenges. To address these challenges, it is crucial to address it at an early age. And prevention is more, and be creative, and not force children into strict curriculum, nor evaluate them based on narrow rubrics. This mind-body consciousness-based education empowers children and helps them feel power, visual, motor, intelligence, and maturity. In second phase, recall phase, which is recall phase, students need to remember all the images of previously drawn without seeing them. The recall phase reflects students' visual recall intelligence. And the tests were performed on 75 students, and the results showed an average percentile age, and average intellectual age was 2.7 years ahead of chronological age. 83% of students were 1 to 6 years ahead of actual age, and 53% students were 2 to 6 years ahead. So that's really impressive numbers. So this is small studies, of course.
After the conclusion, we're going to have a kriya, which we invite people to stay. It's a relaxation and stress reduction kriya. If you have to go on for any other UN sessions or anything else, science summit sessions or anything else, you're free to go, but we'd invite everyone else. The more research we do, the more we're going to find things like this. So anyone who wants to collaborate, we'd love to talk to you. My email and Peter Bloomfield, my email, and Sri Mukta Ananda, his email as well. They're both posted at the bottom. Also, policymakers for children's mental health, we invite you to contact us for collaboration for how to incorporate this approach to traditional education and for further research. And then, of course, the Padmashivoham program is a program that I referred to that showed profound positive effects on mental health, reduction in depression, anxiety.
A combination of yoga positions, yoga asanas, breathing techniques, and visualization. And Swamiji has shared 108 kriyas for a variety of diseases and disorders to alleviate, using
and disturbances. Disease, disorders, disturbances expresses itself in different ways.
The human body has 7 circuits: blood circuit, circulatory system, nerve circuit, the nervous system, prana circuit, the respiratory system, digestive circuit, excretory circuit, reproductive circuit, and energy circuit. Of these circuits, the energy circuit is governed by the Kundalini energy. Though not spoken much by the medical science, but elaborate references have been given for the flow to resume. Similarly, when there is a block in the energy circuit in the body, there is impedance to energy flow forward, and it results in disease in that particular organ. The Kundalini energy in our body is like the water in the water tank. Kriyas are powerful tools which help to remove the energy blockage and restore the energy flow. When the body is aligned in certain postures during kriyas, the energy block is removed. Once the block is removed, the kumbhaka pumps in the Kundalini energy just as the water gets pumped in to the pipeline once the block is removed. When the
on which kriya works.
Kriyas are a unique combination of asanas, pranayamas, and kumbhakas, wherein they are more effective and the individual asanas and pranayamas.
Even for few seconds, if these kriyas are my unique contributions to the world. The kriyas have 7 ingredients. 1, yoga. 2nd, kumbhaka, pranayamas. 3rd, visualizations. 4th, verbalization means
Shall I start the music and then you'll announce the kriya?
Yeah, I can just walk everywhere. So you have to sit in a special posture. It is not very difficult. It is you sit with your knees drawn to your chest, and then you just put your hands around your knees and hug them and pull them closer. That's it, right? So that way you are sitting with your knees drawn in and your heels touching as close to your body as possible. You just have to look ahead. Your right nostril, breathe in through your left nostril, and then close your left nostril, breathe out through your right nostril, and then breathe in again through your right and breathe out through the left. This is one cycle. Do this cycle for 21 times. Let's start with that. That's the step one. Step two is this picture. Sit like this picture, holding your You can play the music too, Peter. Thanks. You will feel the intense humming, coolness all over your body. And uncut. surface level. I mean, there is a lot of depth to the meditation, mind-body consciousness studies. But we just wanted to share some experiential, some experiences with you, so you can find out for yourself. So I hope you can practice this meditation before going to sleep every day.
United Nations going forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.